when Emily stepped through the front door. That Sunday night, suitcase dragging behind her, she wore that unmistakable post-vacation glow, hair tousled by the wind, skin warmed by the sun, and a smile just a bit too radiant to be harmless. She threw her arms around me, kissed my cheek, and behaved as though nothing in the world was wrong. "God, it's so good to be back," she said, laughing, as she dropped her bags. I returned the smile, the carefully rehearsed kind, the one you put on when you already know the truth and are simply waiting for the liar to finish their performance. "So how was the girls' trip?" I asked. "Oh, incredible," she replied too fast. "We went hiking, did some wine tasting, just all the usual girl stuff." I nodded. "Sounds nice." Then I leaned against the counter and said quietly, "So, did you and Mike enjoy yourselves too?" Her smile locked in place. That single second, that flicker of fear behind her eyes, confirmed everything I'd been piecing together. For weeks, she tried to regroup, stumbling over her words. "Mike? Who's Mike?" But her voice shook, giving her away. I didn't answer immediately. I watched her come apart, watched her hands tremble as she fiddled with the zipper on her suitcase, like that tiny movement might distract me from the guilt radiating off her. "You know," I said slowly, "Mike, the one you called 3 times last night at 1:14 a.m., while your phone's GPS showed you at a beach resort 2 hours away from where your friends were staying." Her lip began to quiver. You checked my phone?" I smiled again. "No, Emily, you checked out of my trust." She collapsed into a chair, eyes wide, breathing uneven. "It's not what you think," she whispered, the most predictable line in the book. "Then tell me what it is," I said calmly, my voice steady, almost unnervingly quiet. "Because right now it looks like my wife went on a girls' trip that included one man, and not me." She covered her face and broke down. I'd seen this kind of crying before, the kind that shows up when lies stop working. I wasn't furious anymore. I was done. The truth spilled out in fragments. Mike was an old coworker she'd reconnected with. One drink turned into dinner. Dinner became a weekend mistake. I listened without speaking, each confession striking like another nail in the coffin of our marriage. When she finally finished, I asked, "Was it worth it?" She looked up, mascara smeared, and whispered, "No." I nodded. "Good," I said, "because it cost you everything." I stood and headed toward the hallway. The bags I'd packed days earlier were already waiting by the door. She stared at them, stunned, like it never occurred to her that I might be the one to leave. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Somewhere you can't follow," I said. "I already signed the papers. They're on the table." Her jaw dropped. You filed for divorce?" I nodded. "The day after you left. I wanted to be sure. I wasn't mistaken." "I wasn't." She rushed toward me, grabbing my arm, pleading. "It didn't mean anything. I swear. It was just a mistake." Her desperation filled the room. "But it didn't matter." Pulled away. "You don't accidentally betray someone who would have given you the world," I said. "You made a choice. Now you live with it." Her sobs echoed through the house we once built together. I didn't shout. I didn't slam the door. I picked up my bags and left her standing there, surrounded by the wreckage of her own decisions. In the weeks that followed, she called, texted, even showed up at my office. I never replied. Every message sounded the same. "Please, I'm sorry, but apologies don't undo deception." I'd spent years believing loyalty naturally followed love. It doesn't. It's a choice, and she chose to shatter it. For a weekend thrill with a man who vanished. The moment real life showed up. Months later, a mutual friend told me Mike had moved out of state. Apparently, he told her he wasn't ready for anything serious. The irony stung. She destroyed a marriage for someone who never planned to stay. By then, I was living alone in a small apartment overlooking the city. It wasn't impressive, but it was calm. No lies, no pretending, just peace. One day, she sent a long email overflowing with regret, begging for another chance. I read every word, then closed it without answering. At the end she wrote, "You were right. You're the only one who ever truly loved me." Maybe that was true, but love without respect is just another form of punishment, and I'd endured enough. Now, when I think back to her smiling as she walked in from that girl's trip, I understand that quiet question. Did you and Mike have fun? Wasn't anger at all. It was acceptance. I didn't need to shout or prove anything. She had already lost the only thing that mattered, my trust. And once trust is gone, everything else soon follows.